We were an embarrassment to DePaul, the Big East, and ourselves most probably importantly. But at the same time, Dayton was great, and you always want to make sure you give credit to the victor in a situation like this. And they played a really, really great basketball game tonight. I just think we're better than what we showed tonight.
All right, questions for Anissa?
Coach, did their length...
We'd like to take questions for Anissa first.
I'll do this. Anissa, the coach for Dayton said she thought that they had done a pretty good job on you. And then she looked at the score sheet and you had 17 rebounds. What is it that allows you to get that kind of number of boards against a team that had such length and had such tall players at every possession?
I would just say my determination to go get after the boards. That's something that our team really needs, and I felt like it's something that I had to bring tonight for us to be successful. We also could have did a better job on the boards personally, but it didn't happen.
Chuck Schaffner, have you seen size and length like that before? And and what do you, how do you battle that?
I've been playing against size all season. I would say personally it's me. I always say it's me against me. I personally felt like I didn't take my time around the basket. It's a lot of chippy shots that I could have made. A lot of times where I could have dished the ball back out to shooters. So, yeah.
So this was your first NCAA tournament experience. I mean, do you think you can take something from this and maybe learn something to, help you take another step?
I know that the scoreboard shows that it's a loss, but I always take every loss as a lesson. So I've learned something from every game that I played this year, wins and losses, and I've learned something tonight as well.
Any more questions here in person for Anissa? Okay, we'll move to remote, and we'll start with Alexa from ESPN. Please state your name and affiliation before you ask the question.
Hi, Nisa. Alexa Philippine from ESPN. You said that you'll learn from tonight. Is there anything that comes to mind? I know it's still fresh, but what do you want to learn, or what do you think you will learn from this experience?
I would say defensively, it's a lot of times where I wasn't as disciplined defensively, taking better shots, focusing around the basket. I feel like it's something that I've been continuously learning all season. So those would be one of the main three things.
All right, back to Alexa.
And it looked like, one quick follow-up, and it looked like if even as kind of the score got, the gap got larger, that you were still trying to hustle and, giving it your all out there. What was just kind of going through your mind as you were, just finishing the game and trying to, still make those plays?
When you finish a game and you feel like you gave it your all, there's nothing to be upset about at the end. So I knew that I had to give it my all in every game and even tonight. So there was nothing that I could be upset about. But I could look back on and be like, I could have done this differently, or I could have focused here or been more disciplined.
All right, we'll go to James K. now.
Thank you.
Hi, James K., Chicago Tribune. Anissa, it seemed like in the second half you really attacked the inside, the interior, a lot more than you did in the first half. Was that something that you were looking to do coming out of halftime, and was that something the coaching staff was trying to push forward heading into that time?
Yes, I would say my first shot was a three. Then I made it, so I felt like I would knock some more shots down. But unfortunately, I didn't. And I know that my strength, and Coach Doug always talk about my percentage around the basket is way better than shooting out from the field. So I knew that I had to play my strengths in the second half.
Thank you.
Any more questions for Anissa? Anissa, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks, Anissa.
All right, we will now take questions for Coach Bruno. So if you have a question, please raise your hand.
Coach, did their length, their size all over the court, how much of a factor was that tonight?
Like Anissa says, we play a very difficult schedule, rigorous schedule, and I do believe that their length definitely was a factor, but at the same time, we have played enough good, strong, big teams. I mean, UConn's not a small team, and it's a very long team themselves, but there's more than just the UConn game. At the same time, their length was definitely a factor, but our lack of ability to display any kind of patience, it's very difficult to make shots that are not open shots. You have to have the patience to get open shots, and this has been a group that's been very hard to get them to understand. The quick shoot mentality has to be tempered by a understanding. If you're open, you can shoot it, but if you're not open, you have to share it, and we were not sharing the ball very well tonight. I think we ended up with 11 assists, and that's always a telltale sign for our team. I just thought we took a lot of terrible bad twos at halftime. I think our 4 guards were, well, I guess at the end of the, well, it was just the second quarter when we went down 16 or 15. It was just a continuous bad shot after continuous bad shot, and that's where you have to be able to be patient and quick. You have to be able to combine them. We try to combine them, but it was not. That was really where the situation was. Yes, their length bothered us, but another pass, you can find a good, strong open shot, a better open shot. Tough twos you lose, and we took a lot of tough twos.
Chuck Schaffner, it seemed like maybe it was difficult for you to get some transition going. You didn't get a lot of live ball turnovers, and of course they're making a bunch of shots, and you can't rebound and get going. I mean, was that a factor in the game?
Well, they were awesome offensively. I mean, they did a great job of I thought, we knew what they were going to try to do, and they just did a great job. I mean, Whalen and Ciccone together, I think, accounted for just a ton. I mean, they just did a great job of finding the open 3-point shooters, and we didn't do a very good job of finding them. And they had a great first half for sure. I think they were 11 for 13 or 11 for 14 at halftime. So that's 33 of their points at halftime of their 54. So we just really didn't do a very good job of getting back out to those 3-point shooters, and they were really hot in the first half. It's our job to make them unhot or cold.
But when they're making them like that, is there a kind of a mental thing? Players kind of get disheartened of seeing the other team there, no matter, okay, well, maybe we did guard them, but they still made it.
Well, again, that's basketball, that's competitiveness, and you just have to fight through that, and you have to fight through it. That's all you can say. I mean, you can't let yourself get down. That's what mental toughness is all about.
All right, we'll move to remote, and we'll start with James K.
Hey, Coach.
Hello, James.
What can you just say about the upperclasswomen in this, like on your team, just and what they've meant to your program over the last few years?
James, thank you for that question. It's a great question, and it's an important question to be answered. First of all, to Deja Church and Deepa Kelja, they didn't have to come back this year. They elected to come back. And so, we're very, very appreciative. What did I say in the locker room? I said, basically, this isn't the time for kumbaya right now. This is just too raw. I mean, I can start making a great senior speech right now, but not after what just happened. That'll come here in another week or two when we get a chance to regroup. But the specifically Church and Bekelja, they did not have to come back, and they chose to come back, and we're really thankful to those two for doing that. And then for Sonia and Lexi, those two have been really, really great for our program, and at the same time, they've been a couple of really talented players, and we did in the locker room talk about the seniors and how much we do appreciate the effort that they put into this. It's just, again, the moment is the moment, and I'm looking like James is here. I'm looking like I'm talking to James right here. I mean, I know, where are you, James? You're in the remote world, but I'm staring down at this thing because that's where the sound came from. But they are a great group of seniors, and we started to talk about that a little bit in the locker room, but, you can just tell when a group doesn't want to hear it. It's not the time for it right now. So, but they've been a great, really, really special group of seniors.
All right, we'll go to Alexa Philippou next.
Hi Doug, Alexa Philippine from ESPN. With Anissa having this sort of experience her freshman year, what do you hope she takes from this to kind of propel her forward into, ideally bigger and better things?
As good as Anissa's been on the floor, I just kind of marveled at her dignity in defeat just a few seconds ago. I mean, the way that she handled this press conference. I mean, there's coaches that don't let players come to press conferences, much less freshmen. And I just, I just thought she was. I don't think I could say it any better than she said it. I mean, she said, how to develop more discipline. I just. Everything that she said, Alexa, I'm not even being able to utter her words, but I mean, I'm sure you got that. Whatever she said, I just seconded it because, I mean, I was just amazed at her poise and dignity here in this tough moment. I don't know if that answered your question, but it's what I think.
That's fine.
She's got,
If I could,
go ahead, follow up, please.
I was just gonna ask a follow-up about just kind of the emotions of the last week, just not knowing what was gonna happen with your kind of post-season fate to finding out you were gonna be in the tournament, to coming here, playing in this new format of a first four game and tonight. How would you take anything from that, or what was just that whole experience like?
Alexa, first of all, we've believed, and at this tough moment, Coach Bruno here is not apologizing to anybody, anywhere, about whether we belonged in or not, all right? As embarrassing as that basketball was tonight, we belonged in this tournament, and I made sure the players knew that after this was over with. I just, there's no way that we did not belong in this tournament. Now, that said, it would have been a lot more exciting to prove with your actions on the floor that we belonged into the tournament, rather than the coach getting up here after a loss like that and stating the truth as I believe it. So it would have been a lot better for us to have proved it on the floor than for me talking about it. But I really do believe this team earned the right and earned the way into this tournament. So your question about the emotions, yeah, I mean, it was a very emotional week because we really didn't, we were hoping for the best, but we were prepared for the worst. And then when we did get into the tournament, and the people at the NCAA, the people at the committee, these people work hard. They don't just, and everybody jumps on them when things don't go their way. So, that drives me crazy when people jump on that committee or jump on the people, the NCAA. There's a lot of hardworking people there, and so I just really, but to your question, the emotion was crazy. It was a tough. We just didn't play well down the stretch here, and sit there for a week, and then you find the euphoria of going, and then now the crash and burn. And having done this many times, I understand how hard this crash and burn thing is unless you win them all, there's going to be a crash and burn. I mean, there's going to be 3 number 1 seeds here because they're not going to all win the last game, and 3 number 1 seeds are going to crash and burn too. And that's just always very, very difficult. And yet, the emotion was, we were all over the place, but we did get in, and we're happy that we got in. And we're just, like I said, embarrassed that we didn't show better. And that's, I can't have it back, they can't have it back.
All right.
Thank you, Alexa, for all you do for the Big East and women's basketball nationally.
Coach, that's all we've got for you, so thank you for joining us.
Thanks, everybody, for covering women's basketball, and thanks to all the people here at Iowa State. Whenever these events happen, there's a lot of people behind the scenes that do a lot of hard work, so thanks to all of them.
A recording of this press conference will be available in the NCAA digital media.